Hi everybody! Today we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Part 2. Initially, this was supposed to be a discussion about the entire game, but I haven't been able to complete it. So I decided that I'm going to break it up into two videos. Part 1 will be me just talking about my history with The Last of Us Part 1 and kind of letting you know my initial impressions of Part 2. This video will be a spoiler-free video. I won't spoil any of the plot. I'll talk about some of the gameplay features, which may be a little bit of a spoiler. I suggest you go into this game knowing little to nothing, but I won't spoil any of the plot here. The second video will be a spoiler review, so make sure you watch that one as well. So I'm a huge fan of the developer Naughty Dog, if you can't tell. My first experience with them was Crash Bandicoot. I think a year after it came out in 1997. I was 9 years old. I've followed the developer ever since. The first Jak and Daxter was a classic. Same with Uncharted 2. And with The Last of Us, I was expecting a great game, but I didn't expect anything groundbreaking. I didn't think anything new could be done with the zombie or kind of zombie-esque genre, but I was definitely excited for that game. At that time, 2013, I was more hyped for BioShock Infinite. I thought that game looked groundbreaking with the trailer that they released, which didn't end up being in the game, but I was super hyped for that. And I played that and it was great, but it didn't quite meet my expectations. And then The Last of Us, I set aside a weekend for that game. I knew I was going to have a great time with it, and I just wanted to play it in isolation. And of course, the first 15 minutes fucking blindsided me. But after that, the following 2 to 3 hours of the game were kind of slow, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure how great this was going to be. Like, it opens strong, but like it's kind of going slowly. It really picks up though. Like, the momentum keeps picking up throughout the game. And the moment I realized that it was something special was when your character Joel and your companion Ellie are walking through a beautifully rendered forest. And I'd never seen anything like this in a game. I just knew that it was something special. And like from that moment onwards, like it just kept getting better. And I'm like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever played. And it ended up being my second favorite video game of all time. That game shook me to my core multiple times. And by the end of that weekend, that Sunday night, when I finished the game, I felt like I had truly gone through a journey and had those characters along with me the entire time. So fast forward to about 2016, there's the announcement trailer for The Last of Us Part 2. And of course, like, my hype is through the roof. I tried not to spoil myself too much. I watched another gameplay trailer that was about 10 minutes, and then I told myself I wasn't going to watch any more gameplay or any trailers at all until the game came out. And then of course the controversy that happened with the game, which I won't get into now. It's well documented if you want to find it. I was trying to not let that affect my opinion of the game too much. Similar thing happened with Red Dead Redemption 2, and I was able to enjoy that game immensely despite the controversy, so I thought, of course, I can do the same with this. My plan was to recreate the conditions for which I played The Last of Us Part 1. So play it over an entire weekend with minimal distractions, try to complete. Like, I knew it was probably going to take longer. The developer had already stated this was their biggest game by far, which I didn't know if that meant their longest or their most open-ended. So I set aside about 4 days in order to complete this game. But of course, I came to Sunday night, the time when I had beaten the original game, and I realized that the same thing wasn't going to happen this time. Right now, I think I'm maybe 75% through, but I don't know, like, who knows? The gameplay is basically the same as The Last of Us Part 1, but with some improvements, which by default makes it the best third-person action combat gameplay that I've ever played. It is amazing, especially the combat. The enemy encounters were so incredibly intense, dynamic, and fun. There were so many options for traversing the environment while in combat. The combat environments are a lot more open-ended. You can crawl through the grass, climb buildings, hide under beds. Of course, like the first game, you can either play it stealthily or you can play it more action-oriented. But there's a third option that's more prevalent in this game, which is a mixture of both. You can start out stealthy, try to tag a few guys without anyone noticing. If you get noticed, or maybe you get noticed on purpose, you can shoot a few guys, get the enemies to notice you, and then sneak back into cover. Because you can like slide into the grass, and you can go prone in this game now. In the last game, you can only stand, of course, and crouch. It gives you the opportunity to play out your Rambo fantasies. You feel just like a badass Rambo. It's so dynamic, like it's so much fun. I have no complaints about the combat and the gameplay. It also takes more elements from the Uncharted series, so it kind of feels like a combination between The Last of Us Part 1 and Uncharted 4. It's not to the extent that you're going to be jumping from spot to spot on the side of a building like Spider-Man. It's more, you can do more climbing, there's more verticality. I think my favorite recurring mechanic in this game, the ability to break glass. Like you can break all sorts of glass surfaces in this game, windows of like buildings and cars, cabinets. If it's like a large enough surface of glass, then you can break it. I don't think you can break mirrors. I don't think I tried that. It's cool how they introduce this feature because it starts out as something that's optional. You could either go through the door or you could just quickly break the glass window to climb through it. It teaches you that there are more options in this game in terms of traversal and combat and with enemy encounters. But then later on in the game, they force you to do that. Then when you have to do it later on, I've been doing this anyways and I wanted to do it, so you want to keep continuing to do it. It just feels like something you would do in real life. And that leads me to probably the greatest aspect of this game is the realism. The little details that they put in this game for pretty much everything, like opening drawers. When you open a drawer, it kind of like shakes, like the drawer is loose. After you've seen it 100 times, it's not as amazing because it looks like every drawer is loose. But still, it's something they didn't have to put in. It's a little touch that makes it seem a little closer to next gen. There are so many other details, like when you brush by a pine tree and snow falls off of it. I've never seen that in a game before. One more thing, there's something in this game which I never expected to see in any game. Of all the games, I would have not expected it to be in this game, maybe in like an open world game. But that is an actual guitar playing mode, like recurring section, I guess you would call it. There are moments throughout the game where there will be a scripted moment where a character is playing guitar and then you get to play the song and it kind of directs you, tells you which note to hit. Even that was like, that is really cool. I've never seen that in a game. But then at some point you actually get to pick up the guitar without any timer and just practice playing. Like it's called practice guitar, but really like you can just do whatever you want with it. And there's 5 different scales you can play on. And I think 5 notes for each scale. There's so many variations you can do. And you play with the touchpad. So you're supposed to strum, like it's like these are the strings and you strum to play the strings and then move the analog stick to whichever chord you want to play. And then you strum. The different points on the touchpad actually represent a different string. Through experimenting, I just realized you can just touch one, like this will be like the D string, and you can just touch it and it'll play the string and tap it. So you can like do finger picking, you can do strumming, you can do a combination of finger picking and strumming. I've never seen that in a game. It's truly amazing. I was fiddling around with it for a while. So I'd say in terms of the gameplay, the environment, the little details, the art design, all of those aspects are near perfect, if not perfect. And on that front, I would say so far this game is a masterpiece in terms of just pure gameplay. Now, when it comes to the story, that is a different story. I guess I'll just have to talk about that next time in my next video. But I think that's it for now. Make sure you come back for the next video. I'll be discussing more of the plot of the game and just kind of my overall opinion of the game. Maybe it'll be a review, maybe just a discussion, but that one will be a spoiler video. So make sure you've either played the game, watched someone live stream it, or don't give a fuck about the game and just want to see me talk before you watch the video. Bye for now. My dog just climbed under my desk. He's like just squeezed in there. Good boy. Good boy. He doesn't like me making videos because I'm not talking to him. Okay, puppy. Okay.